All right then, and hello everyone, and welcome to today's July 13th Cloud Movie Machine slash Vidworkz training. And whether you purchase Cloud Movie Machine or you purchase Vidworkz, they are exactly the same product with different branding. So everything that I tell you today will be relevant for either one of those products. Okay? Um, Before we get started with like the technical features and stuff, just a couple of things. Those of you that have been with us for a while did notice we had, quite an issue when we got all thousands of new users onto the system 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I'm really happy to say that I think I've really smoothed out all the concurrency issues that we had. I'm not seeing, people saying things aren't getting done, things are getting made. If they aren't getting made, you're going to get a message saying that, something went wrong and let us look at it, we'll fix it. And things are just going a lot smoother. I did discover that what the main issue really was that there were a few users that were like really overusing the system. So I had to put in a few limitations here just so that those users wouldn't bump everyone else off of the system. And one of the things that I did implement was a 5-line limit to the PowerPoint creator because people were doing things like putting in 50 lines of text or 100 lines of text and then expecting the system to just sit there and process all of that. And unfortunately, that was doing things like bumping users off the system and stuff. So because of the fact that this is a server-based system, we're all kind of in it together. We all live in the same apartment complex, so we have to be polite to our neighbors. And if we keep our requests, to basically short and sweet, then everything continues to work really well with Cloud Movie Machine slash Vidworkz. Okay, so let's move forward into some of the things that I wanted to tell you about today because I have added in some kind of really cool new features that make video creation a lot easier. And before we get to the end of the today's show, I also want to give you a few pointers on how to get the most professional looking videos. And of course, when I show you these demos that I'm going to do on this webinar today, I don't really consider them to be, super professional videos because I'm doing it fast in front of you, but I'm just showing you how we can make things work. So I think I'll do is I'll just try to make a new um, test video for July 13th. And then we'll take a look at some of the new functions that we have here. And so I just started a brand new video with absolutely nothing in it. So I can just show you a few of the new features that we got. And I'm going to start with that PowerPoint slide generator down here. Now, yeah, Cloud Movie Machine is currently offline for maintenance, and that's on purpose. Because like somebody just wrote in the chat box, I'm trying to follow you, but Cloud Movie Machine is currently offline. Well, there's a reason for that, and I just found out, I discovered that when I give a webinar with Cloud Movie Machine and when I show something, like 100 people do exactly the same thing at exactly the same time to follow me, and it brings the server down. So we just can't have that. So I have basically have Cloud Movie Machine is offline now for everyone except me right now, so that I can show you guys these things, right, without everyone crashing down the system. Absolutely not video effects. If you have any idea how much it costs to run this system and how many servers I already have, how much bandwidth, how much memory, video is one of the most CPU intensive processes that there is in the world. That's why you usually use a desktop software because it uses all the resources of your computer. But now we have a server, we have a lot of people on it. So anyway, I don't want to waste your time answering these kind of questions. Most of you already understand this because most of you are video professionals and you understand that video is not the same as a web page. It's just not the same. Okay, now if you do want your own Cloud Movie Machine server, we can set you up with one, right? So we can clone this whole system just for you or your company on a completely different server, and then you have complete use of it and nobody else is using your bandwidth. That's something we can do for you, but that's not what I'm here to sell you on right now. In fact, I'm not here to sell you anything. So let's just go ahead and so I'm just going to do these with the text-to-speech, and we have 1 second fade in and fade out. I definitely suggest there's some instances where you don't want to use fading, but definitely for this one you do. So I'm going to put a 1 second fade, and I'm going to go ahead and generate these slides, and I'm going to do it with text-to-speech. So we didn't have that before. And this is going to actually demonstrate a whole new concept that I've added into the program. And let's go ahead and let those generate. And it does take maybe 10 to 15 seconds per line. That's why we had to limit it, because when we have people, putting in, 50 lines, 100 lines of text, and we're talking about tying up the server for about 6 minutes. And that's not fair to the other users, because the whole thing that makes Cloud Movie Machine, nice and streamlined is just keeping the requests kind of short and sweet, and then it works. So, but there's a way around that, and I'm going to teach you that too before this is over today. Now, I have now 3 slides, and I'm going to click Maintain Audio, because if I don't click Maintain Audio, if there's any audio here, it's not going to come through when I publish. So let's go ahead and generate that preview. And of course that takes a moment, but here it comes. Now we'll hear how the text-to-speech.
This is my first slide. This is my second slide. This is my third slide.
Okay. So right now we just have the Google Voice, but it really opens up some doors for you to create these slides with the audio. Now, what we had before is just putting a lot of visual stuff together and then overlaying audio on top of it. I've made some pretty massive changes to the system now so that it doesn't have to work like that anymore. You can now create these clips with audio attached. So you notice that this first clip has the term, this is my first slide attached, and so on with the others. So if we change the order here, by the way, I've fixed up the drag and drop so it's quite a bit smoother and more reliable now. If we do that preview again, and you can see I changed the order, so you should also hear the voice will also have changed the order along with the slides.
This is my second slide. This is my first slide.
Okay, so you get the idea. So the point is that now when we use the system this way, we now have audio attached to the objects in the timeline if we want. And that also comes in handy when you're doing editing with the clip editor, because any videos that you load here, they will be cut with their audio, so you can clip them to the timeline, and just by selecting Maintain Original Audio, then you can make sure that the original audio from the video does get carried over to your finished video. Okay, now to the next thing that I want to show you right now. You're going to notice that I've changed a few things on this sources page. You see now that each item, each image item has 3 buttons now: Add Quick Clip, Open in Clip Generator, and Open in Slide Creator. So you now have 3 ways of creating videos from these images if you want to. When you click the plus button, the way it used to work is that it just put the image into the timeline. But since we've started working with audio now, an image doesn't, it's not a very good conduit for audio in the system. So what we do is when we click the plus button now, it's going to make a default clip of 8 seconds and add a silent audio track so that the audio can be mixed with other items in your timeline. That's pretty simple. You just click the plus button. Now the other one is to open the clip generator, and the clip generator just makes items for your timeline. And not too many people, but a few people were a little bit confused. You're going to select the length of the clip that you want here. And then you're going to select whether you want to show a feature box message or your headline or whatever on top of that. And then that's going to be permanently affixed to this clip of 10 seconds or whatever when it gets put in the timeline. So whatever you put on this clip is going to be permanently on that 10-second clip that will show up as an object in your timeline over here. Now there is this other item called the feature designer, which only exists on the timeline. When you click the feature designer, it looks very similar to what I just showed you. The difference though is that when you open the feature designer on the timeline, as it says here, any features that you add here are going to be applied to the entire video. That's from this button here. Now, if you're in the sources section and you click clip generator, you're going to notice that it no longer says that it's going to be put on the entire video. It's only going to be for the length of this clip. So let's say I just wanted to sort of have a little fun with my things here, and so I can do, let's say I just want to make a short clip. I'm going to put text-to-speech on this section too. I don't have that yet. Let's just make that like a 4-second clip. Now I've been working with this for a while, and I've noticed that if you don't have the fade from to, it actually ends up working better in the overall video, because if you just do a straight cut and then on the timeline you apply fade between clips, you end up with a much more professional looking video. So let's just go ahead and cut this for 4 seconds to the timeline. So now I have this 4-second clip of this cat, and I'll do another one just to go in between, just for the fun of it. And so we'll just go ahead and generate that, another 4-second clip here. And then, like I said, we've kind of smoothed out the drag and drop, so you can sort of see a little bit better where you're putting them now. And it's a bit smoother when you let go. So you can also use the arrows like this. So I'm going to go ahead and render this preview and just show you how I have my my text-to-speech and then some little slides that go in between. It is being recorded SAS 22G. I think you said it was David. So recall, and yes, I'm recording it on two machines, so I'm pretty sure we'll get a recording here. So here is the new video preview.
This is my second slide.
Remember, I got them out of order, and then it goes to that cat. Hey, David.
This is my first slide.
It goes 2, 1, 3, and then the cat in between.
This is my third slide.
Now, Mr. Video Effects, why do you think I would make a recording if I wasn't going to email it to you? Okay, so yes, I am. Now, if we go fade between clips, and then we try it again, and you're going to see how, where I made that clip without fading, I made those two internal clips like without putting the fade. So then I put the fade on the whole thing in between all the clips. It looks, to me, it looks a little more professional that way. So now you'll see that. When you put the fade, you're going to see a fade from the beginning.
This is my second slide.
And then it fades to the one that's in between. And so it kind of looks a little more professional.
This is my first slide.
You see what I'm saying? And then you could put features on the cat or whatever.
This is my third slide.
Okay, so I'm showing you this technique so that you can understand that, you know, how you can create these videos. So you can switch the timing to whatever you want. You can add images and things that are relevant to the things that you're talking about. Now this upload section, I've talked about it before, and honestly, I'd like to get rid of this because it's much better to use the create section and you get much better results. Let's move on now to the slide creator. Everybody with me so far? Let me get a 1, if I may, from everyone that's with me so that I don't feel like I'm out here in outer space all by myself. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Super, 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 super. Excellent. Love it. Thank you, everyone. Don't get rid of the upload button. Well, if you're having good results with it, then fine. I'll keep it there. But what I'm concerned with is you're not having good results with it, especially when you have this awesome thing I'm going to show you right now, which is the slide creator. I've really done quite a lot with this. If you haven't seen it for a while, now you notice there's a bunch of slides, a bunch of pictures under here, and that's because you can now save a PowerPoint template and reload it many, many times. Let me for an example, well, before we go on, let me tell you this. Now, one thing I want to bring your attention to with this slide creator is that if you open it up, and you'll notice that it isn't really showing the dimensions that I want. In fact, it shows you a white square here and then some empty underneath. That means it did not load the way I want it to. So if you see that, I want you to close it and open it again. Now you see how the shape of this is exactly 16 by 9 video dimensions. And it is in fact 1280 by 720. And we have code in there that's supposed to set it that way, but the thing is that this applet sometime, depending on your internet connection or what's going on otherwise in your bandwidth, it might not load in time to get the instructions to size itself. So if that happens, I just want you to just close it and reopen it, and then it'll get the perfect size. So we need the perfect size in order for it to fit with our videos, because this is the perfect size of the video. We do everything in 16 by 9, 1280 by 720. Now that we have this open, we can do a number of things. And let me just show you some of the things that we can do. Now, of course, we can add these figures. We now have the speech bubbles here, so you can make them talk like this if you want. Of course, we have the shapes. Now, the way that this layers thing works here is if it's not locked in a selector, you're going to see these blue markers. Now, the way to get rid of those blue markers is just click the lock button. Now it's locked, but also you don't see those blue markers. You don't want to show those blue markers when you save, because otherwise the blue markers will go with your picture. So that's how you do that. Oh, everything's locked now, so if I unlock it, that one's okay. So let me see. So now another thing you can do with this, before I get to some other good stuff, let me just mention that when you're in the sources section and you're browsing for images, you can at any time click this green button to open that exact image in the slide creator, just like that. Once again, if the image does not go to 16 by 9, close it and open it again, and it should. There it is. You see now, it took just a second, but it gave me the 16 by 9. Obviously, there's a little extra space over there, and you will need to deal with it. And there are a number of ways you can do that. You can unlock this image, and then you can stretch it like that, move it around, do whatever you want like that. I'm going to make that a little bigger. I'm trying to move him like that, and you can then do something silly like give him a... And by the way, these are reversible. You just grab one line and reverse it like that. You can give him something to say. Now, what we could also do is, let's say I wanted to make a PowerPoint presentation about this cat. Okay, realize it's a bit silly. But if I go save dialog and then I go save to my slides, and that's all. That's all I'm going to do. And I click save slide. It takes a moment, not too long. The longest thing in that particular function is sending the JPEG data to the server. The picture that you make in the slide creator gets sent to the server without compression. So it's usually about 2 megabytes of data. So it's not a small chunk. So that's why it takes 1 minute, maybe a minute and a half to send your image up to the server. Once the server gets the image, then it processes it. But we're still waiting. But I'm not surprised it takes that long, because it's an uncompressed JPEG data. So now I've saved that to my saved slides, and as you can see now, that is now available in this section here called My Saved Slides. All I have to do is click on it, and it now opens in the slide creator. And there we go. So now I have this as a template. I could also make another template now if I wanted to. Now, I'm not saying you're going to do this with a cat or whatever, but you can apply this in your own video creation in a number of different ways. Let's say I wanted to make some kind of a PowerPoint thing where this cat is talking. So then I could go ahead and I could also save this to my slides. And this is another template. So now I'm going to have two templates. I'm going to have one template without the speech bubble, and then I'm going to have a template with the speech bubble. So then I can load that cat into some clips without it talking, and then I can load that cat into some clips with it talking as well. I mean, I'm just going to give you just a few ideas, different ways that you can utilize this. And it may appear to be silly, the topics that I choose or whatever, but the thing is, you take whatever content that you're working with and then you can apply these things to your own content. Once again, it does take that little extra time for that uncompressed image binary to be sent up to the server. Garfield would be proud. Big idea, Neil. All right. Now there we have the second one. So just to really quickly show you how I might do a quick video. Before I do that, I want to more or less delete what I already have there. So I'm going to just start fresh. Delete all. And we'll go back here, and so now we're starting with a fresh one. I'm going to go ahead and for this, I'm not going to save to my slides, and I'm not going to do text to speech, but I'm just going to make, like a short clip. And as I mentioned before, I believe that when you do a clip like this, it looks better to not have any fade in or fade out. And you can add that on the timeline, right? So let's go ahead and create that. And again, it will take a minute. So yes, it will take a minute to send that image binary to the server, uncompress. The server collects the data, and then it's going to send it to our queuing server to make a clip out of it. And the clip will get deposited on the timeline. So yes, it takes a few moments. Would you like me to sing a song while we're waiting? Well, nobody says no, so me. No, I won't do that. I won't do that for you. I won't do that to you. That's right, Bill. Putting the text to speech. Clouds by Joni Mitchell, big idea, and that's a good one. So yes, that's what we've done, Bill, is we've got it now that when you make these little units with text to speech, the text to speech stays attached to the unit, to the item in the timeline. So you can then add other units and the audio track gets built along with the visual. If you want to do it that way. There are a lot of different ways to do. I mean, this is versatile. So that's why the idea is to learn all the little different tricks instead of saying, well, that doesn't work like such and such a program. Well, if you do learn all the different little tricks that this thing does, you can put it together into some amazing videos. So that one now is done. So now I'm going to kind of go to my next, my next section in this, which I'll make a little text-to-speech thing here with this guy. And again, it takes a minute to get that and load it up. And then we can go ahead and add some text on top of that. And I think we can align it to the center like that. That's what I want to do. Make it just a little bit bigger. You can really do whatever you want with it. You can twist it like this or whatever. I will keep this, try to keep it level, and it's not quite level. So what I will do is also copy that. And now we'll save this. I have it set to 0. If you keep this set to 0 when you do text-to-speech, it will not fade. If you do put a fade, it will fade. So I'm going to just put the same text-to-speech here. And it's basically going to make the clip as long as the vocal is plus 3 seconds. So let's go ahead and make that. Bill, geez Louise, yes indeed. We're trying to make this a killer app, Bill, because I mean, just because we launched it a month ago, I'm not done selling it. I'm not done making it. I'm intending to continue to build this. And that's why when you guys bought into the launch, you got into the ground floor of this and you got a really, really excellent price on this. And you're grandfathered in. And we are going to keep making this an awesome app. And any issues that we come up against, I'm just going to bulldoze through them and get them done, just like I've been doing for the last month. Yeah, best viewed using Fire Feline browser. Big idea, Neil. Okay, so Anlanda, how can I utilize a client's logo without the upload button? Great question, and that's part of what I'm going to show you today. Yes, indeed, MDB 360. We do have, I suggest you take a look at the case studies on the homepage if you haven't seen them yet, just to show you how easy it is to dominate a niche with this program. Let's just take a look at this program, these two clips, and see how they work. Let me make sure I got the audio maintained. Yes, I do, and the fade between clips. There we go. Let's give it a try and just see. Excuse me. Yeah, we got 2 machines recording this now, so hopefully at least one of them will be. Okay, so there's our first clip.
Hi, I'm hungry. Can I have some cat food?
Fantastic. So then you can do this. So we have this kind of intermediate clip here that has no speech and one with speech. So what I can do is just duplicate this intermediate clip like this. We do have an affiliate program already, Bill, but you can contact me outside of this webinar for that. So now we have the no speech, the speech, and another no speech. Now I'm going to go back here and just for the fun of it, make another one. He's going to say, Okay, let's see that. Okay. Alrighty. And then we'll go ahead and just put that in there and create that slide. So I'm going to get off this in a second and go to something else. But you're right, big idea, Neil. This is the technology behind Steven Spielberg's latest master. This is what they use for Avatar. No, I'm just kidding. But right now we don't have more than the Google Voice for this part, but I think it would be cool to add a second, other options. So you could actually have conversations between items, and I'll show you. I was going to show you how I would do that too. I think the biggest PITA is just waiting for the binaries to upload to the server, but we can't really get around that unless you have a super fast internet connection. So that's what we're waiting on now. And because when you see it kind of dims and comes back, that usually means that it's got a message from the server and now it's going on to the next section. And then the next section completes, and then we have our fourth clip. Now I want to have also one more duplicate of this one at the very end. And Alanda, I'm going to answer your question about how to upload a client's logo. That I haven't forgotten that, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But before we do that, let me just show you the amazing effect that we now have with this cat talking. Neil, is it possible to embed an already existing video on one slide? Yeah. I don't have the text-to-speech on that one yet. But, I mean, there's so many things that we're going to be adding. You're going to be able to pretty much do whatever you want with anything. So here we go.
Hi, I'm hungry. Can I have some cat food? I'm really, really hungry and I could really use some delicious cat food. How about it?
And then you can even get rid of that that kind of a glow. If you want to just get rid of that fade between clips, and then we'll try it one more time. Then we'll go on to the next thing. So there's some really interesting things that I want to share with you too. After we watch this wonderful production one more time.
Hi, I'm hungry. Can I have some cat food?
And you can see there's no fading between, it just sort of pops up and pops down.
I'm really, really hungry and I could really use some delicious cat food. How about it?
So I know it's a bit silly, but now what I do also intend to do is put the ability to to record your voice on just one clip so that the audio stays with the clip and you don't have to re-record the whole video every time. So that's coming too. Jay Hodge is saying that the picture is lagging in the sound. So if that's the case, I apologize. Probably not too much I can do about that. But I assure you that the vocal is spoken when the vocal balloon also displays on the video. Okay, so N. Landa had a good question about how to upload your client's logo. So what you want to do is you can open a saved slide and add things to it, or you can create a new slide like that. And then when you want to add a logo or something, then you can click this new button. And then you're going to click upload from computer, and then you can get any kind of little image that you want to use. For example, let me see if I've got the Cloud Movie Machine logo in here. Here it is. It's really big. This is gigantic. Usually the one that you're going to use is not so huge. Oh, this one is 200. Okay, so we'll take this one. And just go open and see, then it's right there on the screen, and you can make it bigger or whatever you want. Now I could also have gotten the really super huge one, and then of course it's going to be big and gigantic, so you have to resize it like this. And obviously that looks better. The bigger the resolution, the better looking the picture. Now let's say if I wanted to keep that, of course, as a template, I can do just everything that I've showed you in terms of saving the slide as a template, and then I could just reload this and put new things on it. Maybe it would be up there. And so you could just save this to my slides. You get rid of this and just click save to my slides. Then you have a template. You can reuse that again and again. Make your PowerPoint slides. Add text-to-speech or don't add text-to-speech. So you can add your own recording later. Yeah, and Landa, so 99. Hope that answers it for you. I mean, it's really just ridiculously versatile. Let me show you something else I was playing around with just for fun. Let's go to my effects black lights, which is like my favorite one. Now everybody uses it. Okay, effects black light, and just sort of get a cool thing in the slide creator. Whatever you click is going to more or less replace, and then it should resize to the right size. If it does not resize to the right size, like it didn't, just close it and click it again. Oops, wrong, I hit the wrong button. Close it and click it again here. It should now, as you can see, yes, it did resize to the 1280 by 720. If you don't do that, it's still going to work, but it's just going to get cropped in a way that you don't want. So I'm going to play around with this here. I'm going to unlock this main image and just sort of stretch it like this so it goes to the whole side. Then if I lock it, the blue marks go away. So now I have this for a background. I can do something really silly. We have a lot of different things to choose from over here. Clouds, animals, beach, landmarks, doodles. I seem to see a new thing over here every day. Of course, you need a dark background for these clouds, but that would be a very good PowerPoint background. Animals. I haven't seen the animals before. This is new to me. So we have animals here now that you can put on there. The beach, let's see what's on the beach. Mainly just icons, but the thing is you can change the color of these icons. Just for example, if I put this anchor on here and then I can change the color to be, you know, whatever I want, and then that's what color it is. I didn't really want that on here though, so I'm going to get rid of that. I wanted to kind of get silly here and just like put my idea guy, and Anybody here like to watch Aqua Teen Hunger Force? It's like kind of a crazy, silly movie. I don't know what that previous thing, Bill, that's came with the system. I don't really even know what it is. We can add something over here like French fries. So now we can say, just for the heck of it, these could be our two conversants. And you can turn it a little bit like that. And this guy, turn him and so then I could go ahead and sort of make this as a template. And here we go with that bit of a weight. And make this one, and then I'm going to make two more templates for this project, and then you'll see what I would do with that. While we're waiting, I want to tell you kind of an important thing to think about when using Cloud Movie Machine / Vidworkz. When it comes to your timeline, a few very long clips work much better than a ton of short clips. Now, I don't know if you kind of get that. So the question is, how do you end up with the long clips? So I'm going to show you that, because right now, obviously, we're building short clips. The answer to the how do we get the long clips is that you queue your movie for rendering. And then when the movie gets rendered, you can add the entire movie back to a project as a clip. How many people does that make sense to in here? Let me see a 1 if that makes sense, and a 2 if that doesn't make sense, if you need more explanation. Got 1, and a 2, a 1. We've got quite a few 2s and more 2s than 1s. Okay, that's great. I'm glad, because I want you to understand this. It's really, this will really help you get miles ahead in your video creation if you understand this one point that I'm trying to get across. Otherwise, if you don't learn this, you might kind of get stuck with Cloud Movie Machine and not really know how to progress to the next level. But I'm going to show you that in a minute. But in the meantime, I am still working with this one project here that I'm going to show you, which is my Aqua Teen Hunger Force. So I'm going to make now 2 more templates with this. And one is going to be with my idea guy talking. So let's go ahead and just save that as a template. And while we're doing that, I will try to expound a little bit more on what I was explaining to you here. So you have, a project with clips, right? And then ultimately you submit that to the queue for final rendering. And then that appears on your data console in the listing, right? Now in your data console, you have some special options. You have the option to add finished video to project. And this is what I'm talking about. All you have to do is select the video you want to add and then select the project you want to add it to and then click the button and you get that video added to your project. And then it's like a clip on the timeline. Now I'm going to make one more template here. This time it'll be my French fries that are doing the talking. And we'll just get rid of our layers and save that to my slides. So back to what I was explaining now, how many people who typed a 2 a few minutes ago would now type a 1 after I explained that? Me. Okay, good. A few people, yeah, more than one. So that did start to make sense to some people, even though I didn't show you exactly what it is. I explained it, right? So I did go over this last time, and there's also training in the training area about that. But I can show you again. So the thing is that you will use your credits. Yes, you will. You will use a credit to render a video. But by doing that, then you have a longer clip available that's already compiled that you can add to your timeline. The less work that the timeline has to do, the better a result that you get. So if you get more, as I said in this, a very few long clips work much better than a lot of short clips. So that's how you do that. You basically produce your shorter chapters and then you queue them to be rendered, but you don't have to distribute them. Just get them rendered. Then you add them back to your timeline of another project. So you have this whole section that's already made. So then you just have building blocks for videos. Okay, now that I've done this, let me go to the next segment. First thing I want to do is just make like I'm going to get rid of this text-to-speech. It's not what I want. I don't want text-to-speech here. And I'm going to make it's just a 3-second, 0, no saved in my slides. Just make a quick clip from that. Yeah, it looks like we've got a replay being recorded here for you, so should be able to have this in the training section within 24 hours for you. So there are, a few moments when we're waiting on things, and if anyone has any questions that they'd like me to address, it's almost been an hour. Time really flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? So it's almost been an hour, but I'd like to deal with any questions that anyone may have, and I'm sure someone has a question. And if you do, I want you to feel completely comfortable to just type your question into the chat box, and I will be happy to answer it. Okay, that's a great question, Bill. Bill asked me, if we save that segmented clip as a mini vid versus a larger version in my queued projects, will I be able to enlarge that pre-recorded clip later on the new project? That's a great question. And yes, you will, but the quality is going to be lacking. Now, I highly suggest that you you render all your, you know, chapters, as it were, in high resolution, because then you have the absolute best source material to cobble your videos together with. Does that make sense to you? Absolutely. So, I mean, I've already tested this and it works amazingly well, folks. If you queue and render your chapter, you know, as the high resolution video and then add that to a project, it looks absolutely smashing. It just looks super clear. No matter, after that, it looks super clear no matter what resolution you put, even as a mini. So if you render your video in high resolution to the final render, and then you add a high resolution video to a new project, and then you render your new project as a mini, it looks great. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If that makes sense to you, let me see a one, because I'm kind of excited about it because it really super does work great that way. Okay, awesome. You know, there's something about rendering stuff in the mini version that, you know, sometimes it looks great, especially the feature box always looks good in any version, but what you start losing is the definition of the headline, the URL, and that sort of thing on the mini vids. Oh, here, I've got my cat over here, so tell you what I'm going to do. I was going to actually do this a little differently, so let me select this. I'm not sure if we'll have time to get this rendered, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to render this high def, turn off auto distribute, and just queue it. Now you can see this video is not created yet, so I can't, actually I need to make it so that you can't add a video to a project that's not been created yet. So, but here's how you do it. You select the video, and of course you can preview it by clicking that little film icon. Here's one I did the other day. Okay, so tell you what, I'll do that. I'm going to add this one. Yeah, this was a 1280. So this was rendered in high def. So I'm going to go ahead and, now which project was I just working on? Well, test July 13, because I just rendered that. So I'm going to have to make a new project first. I don't want to clone that video to a new project, because by doing that, it does not do what I want. It gives me the sources, not the finished clip, right? If you clone a project. What you want to do is add the finished videos. So I'm going to create a new project called test number 2, July 13. Just sort of move that around in here, copy and paste it, and save. So that's test number 2, so I know which one to reference. And then I'm going to go to my data section here. So there's nothing here yet. I'll go to my data section. I'm going to select this, another test video, and I'm going to select add video to project, and I'm going to select test number 2, July 13th, that I just made, and click go. Your video has been added to the selected project. So now if I go back to that project, it is test number 2, July 13th. I click that. And now you're going to see one item on the timeline, which is actually, it's the entire clip, the entire movie. So now This right here is an entire movie that I made. It's this was a few scenes, but it was an entire movie that I queued and rendered in high definition. So now, if I want to keep the audio with that, I have to click Maintain Original Audio. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the preview. And remember what I said, a few very long clips work much better than a ton of short clips. So we can just go ahead and generate this preview. Really all it does in this case is just run through the whole video and put it into a mini vid. So we'll see now also the quality of a mini vid that has actually been rendered from a high def vid that was already created. And good question, Jay Hodge. I'll answer that in a moment. Oh, that did not work. I'm not sure why. So there always has to be at least one thing that doesn't work. So let's try fading. Maybe that was it. Well, I guess I have a little work to do after this webinar, but my work is never done. How long can it take to actually render longer clips in high def? It can take a long time depending on how long the movie is, or it can take a short time. But we don't have the system doing that on the web server. It's a completely separate server and a separate process. So it doesn't affect, it's completely asynchronous queue. That's why you have to go to your data section. Okay, now we got it. So what I would draw to your attention here is that this is actually just one clip, but it came from a movie that I already rendered and queued, or queued and rendered. So once it was rendered, I added it back to this project, and now it has all these scenes and its own audio as well. Okay. So you see that just from adding that one clip, now I have basically an entire movie just in one item on the timeline. Now, how many people are with me on that? Let me get a 1 just to make sure you understand, because that's what I want you to understand right now. Good, 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 good. Great, awesome. Fantastic. So once you understand that you can actually create chapters, you don't have to make your whole video. In fact, it's counterproductive, I think, to try to make your whole video in one timeline. The best way to leverage this system is to make chapters like this and then add them together from the rendered chapters. Okay, let me just try something, and I haven't really tried this. It might work, it might not work. Let's just see. If I want to see if I can add my logo, it's probably not going to work because it's a different resolution and everything, but we'll give it a try. 0 and the clip editor it's unpredictable because what you're doing is you're bringing in external data that's not really conformed to the system, But more often than not, it does work. So let's see if that And so let's try and put it at the front and just do a quick preview on that and see. I haven't had really time to pre-test all the stuff and make sure that things are conformed and all that, but we will see. And the render is done. Did it work? Okay, there you go. So now I've got my little logo reveal on the front of this video before it starts. So that's one thing that you could think about doing. Right, just to show you again. So what I did is I took my little web dimensions logo, and it did not have any audio with it. There's my logo, and pretty low quality version, but that's what this is, low quality anyway. It's a preview, mini vid. But you can also see that generally the quality of the mini vid is pretty decent when it's being rendered from a high res source like this. Okay, now what else did I not mention yet? Let me go through and see. Looks like I've actually covered everything that I wanted to go through today, so I think that brings us to the end of this this webinar, unless we have more questions. Bill says he loves the fact that I'm testing these features and functions instead of making him test it. Well, you guys have no idea how many thousands of hours I've spent with this product. And yeah, there may be a glitch here and there, but this is one of the most complex kind of systems. Now, obviously, it's really, really different from a desktop video software. That's just the way it is. But if you kind of learn your way around, you can leverage the benefits of this system rather than kind of struggling against what you want it to be in it and what it isn't. Does that make sense to everyone? I'd like to just know if that resonates at all. Awesome, Dave. Thanks. Because a lot of the people that are having the most trouble with this system are the ones that are trying to make it be like another program. It just isn't. It is what it is, and if you learn how to leverage the functions, so you can save yourself a ton of time. Yeah, looks like a lot of people are definitely understanding that. So that's good. Well, okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and bid you a fond good evening now. And I am available to you in customer service. I'm available to you on Facebook, and I think you have my my email address and stuff. So if there's any way I can help you, also that intercom system right inside the cloud movie machine, I'm always helping people through there. So I'm available to you anytime you need me, pretty much. Okay. So guys, thanks a lot for being here. I hope you got a lot out of today's training session. Got another cool webinar coming up tomorrow about mobile apps. I'm going to send you something about that later tonight. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for being here again, and I will see you soon. Have a great, great day. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, everyone, and I'll talk to you soon. Hugh out. Bye.